Okay, so I did make a video on this a while back, but I've learned something new and I thought it was worth sharing, so here we are. Um, just jumping right into it. Like last time, I'm going to assume that those of you who are watching this, or at least interested in it, know how to or have heard of b-hopping before. Now, if not, that's all right. I'll just link to a good video on that in the description. But b-hopping was really just kind of meant to work on normal ground, but when you take it to something like Speedgel, it doesn't really work as great. It's not as easy to arc, and it's kind of hard to really get your speed going. So instead, you can just turn and jump at the end of turns and keep jumping to get as much speed as possible and preserve it. So that's really all I covered in the initial video, but there's more we can add to this, and that is crouch tech. So crouch tech really just entails at its core crouching at intervals during jumps. So in this game, it is every other jump. It is different in some, I know, but in this game, every other jump. So what that'll look like, and if we just focus on the crouching portion of this mechanic, is this. So crouching halfway through this turn, and then as you complete it, releasing crouch when you jump, and then for your next jump, just jumping regularly, and then for your third jump and every other jump after that, crouching and jumping as you hit the ground. So again, here's that in one motion, and I'll just kind of voice over when I do the crouches. So crouch, no crouch, crouch, no crouch, and then I'm just turning, crouch, no crouch, crouch, no crouch, crouch. And that is pretty much it. It takes a bit to get used to, but the goal of this is to reduce the number of ground frames. So if we are just jumping normally with the scroll wheel, just continuously, our ground frames kind of are usually just one. If we time it poorly, they might be greater, but the result of this is that we lose speed as we keep jumping on and on. But by crouching at intervals, these ground frames remain at 0. So we don't lose much speed at all, if any. So yeah, here's an example just jumping with scroll regularly. And you can see the velocity kind of keeps dropping off slowly and slowly every jump. But if we apply a bit of crouch tech to that, you can see that the velocity stayed at the same value throughout those jumps. So we can move very quickly for longer using crouch tech. You can also get a much more powerful initial turn by, as I said before, crouching halfway throughout it and then releasing as you jump, as you exit it. It does change a bit of how your turn feels, so it might take a while to get adjusted to that. You might notice yourself jumping out of turns at a bit of a different angle when you try to crouch coming out of it. But yeah, to get used to it, what helped me a lot was actually changing my crouch bind from shift, or control it might be for you, but shifting that over, or changing that over to space. And I don't really use space anymore because, well, for b-hopping you'll be using your scroll wheel. Again, if you didn't know that, there's that video in the description which covers how you can set that up. But yeah, having crouch set to the spacebar was a little bit more comfortable and was actually much faster for me to learn, at least in my mind. Well, I mean, spacebar is commonly used for jumping, and given that this mechanic involves jumping and crouching at the same time, it doesn't feel so weird to be holding the spacebar, even though it is for crouching, whilst you do it. So that just helped me get a hang of it much quicker. So I recommend it, but if you try it and you don't like it, then stick to whatever you're most used to. Again, from the last video, much of what is really important is being comfortable turning smoothly but quickly enough to get the most amount of speed you can. Now, not too quickly, because that'll just cancel your speed. So it is just a fine line of turning at the right speeds and jumping at the right moments coming out of said turns that will really get you like much faster on these kinds of maps. So that's really all I wanted to cover in addition. That and just practice, and you'll get much faster. But I hope this was useful. Let me know if you have any questions down below, and I'll do my best to help you.